Hi, my name is Tina and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I had duodenal switch surgery on June 9th, 2020. I currently about 12 weeks out and I've lost 27 pounds since surgery. And I've lost 57 pounds since the initial visit with the surgeon. And my all-time high weight is 340 pounds. So that was my top weight a couple of years ago. So I've been back and forth on my weight. So today I would like to talk about my recovery, the weeks 2 through 4. The reason 2 through 4 is that in my last video I talked about the first week after surgery, and then after week 4 everything really just changed for me. So at this point I just want to talk about weeks 2 through 4 and the recovery process after duodenal switch surgery. Just a little bit of background also. I'm 51 years old. I have multiple sclerosis. I have been overweight and obese and morbidly obese most of my life. I've been dieting since I was about 12. So long history of dieting. So like I said in my last video, the recovery was pretty okay. I was just drinking lots of liquids and I was on a lot of medication, a lot of pain medicine, thank goodness. So by week 2, I had an appointment with Dr. Srikanth, the beginning of week 2, and he just looked over, weighed me, asked me how I was doing, looked over all of my incisions, made sure they were looking all right. It was pretty gross looking, honestly, but he was happy with it, so I guess they were okay. And then we just talked about what was going on and where my pain was, and he just said I was doing great. So also another thing is I had gained so much weight in the hospital. When I checked into the hospital the day of my surgery, my weight was 252 pounds. And when I got out of the hospital, the day that I checked out of the hospital, my weight was 277 pounds, like that. And all I was doing was sipping water that whole time. So that was just from the gas and the things that they, I guess, put in you to help them do surgery. But my clothes were tight again. My hands looked like they were just very swollen. My rings were painful. They hurt. They were too tight. After the 2-week appointment with the doctor, everything sort of started evening out a little bit. So I started doing my protein shakes at week 2. So I was required to have 150 grams of protein per day, which is really hard to do when you are recovering from, they basically do a vertical sleeve, and then the rest of the surgery is when they do the things with the malabsorption piece. So you have just a tiny, tiny little tummy, and also that tummy is just recovering from major surgery. So it was challenging, but I really wanted to do it. I really thought that if I could get close to 150 grams of protein every day, I would be healthy. I would get better quickly. In my mind, I thought maybe that would help me not lose hair, which I still haven't yet, but I'm just, hopefully it won't be too bad. I know that I will lose hair, but I'm hoping it won't be terrible. But anyway, so I started drinking the protein. It was really hard. I had been drinking the protein shakes before my surgery, and they didn't bother me that much before surgery, but after surgery they're so thick and gritty, and they wanted me to mix them half. So instead of 8 ounces of water or milk or whatever you mix the protein powder with, they said 4 ounces. So and the reason for that is because they want it to move slowly through your body so that you absorb more of it. But it's not tasty. It doesn't taste good at all. And I just have to, in my mind, it's medicine. So protein shakes, I don't like them. They taste terrible. They're very gross to me, but to me that's just medication that I have to take. So that's how I get through it. Anyway, so lots and lots of protein shakes. I was drinking the Premier Protein at that time, and that's 30 grams per serving, so I was drinking 5 of those a day. Not easy. Plus, you have to keep drinking water, and you have to drink to keep your electrolytes up, you have to be drinking a lot of like Gatorade Zero and Powerade Zero and those types of things. So yeah, but all you want to do is sleep. So that's the challenge of after surgery in my mind anyways. I didn't really have a lot of pain after, I didn't really have any pain. I was, like I said, I was sleeping all the time, and I was on a lot of pain medication, so it was okay. But so the full liquid diet is what I was on from weeks 2 to week 4. So that involved, I'm vegetarian, so I don't use beef broth, but I got some veggie broth. So I was having some, which tasted, after the shakes, veggie broth tastes really good. So I bought some unflavored protein powder, and I would make a little cup of veggie broth and then mix that in there and drink that. And that was, probably did that twice a day throughout that whole period, just because the salty taste was such a good way of not having to deal with the shakes. So also lots and lots of popsicles. I ate lots of sugar-free popsicles and sugar-free Jell-O. I didn't really enjoy that as much as the popsicles, so excuse me. And then you're still required to have about as much, I mean, the goal is 64 ounces of water a day. So on top of all of the veggie broth and the protein shakes, you're to drink 64 ounces of water a day, which, again, your tummy is very small and it's healing, so you can't do anything fast. You can't gulp. Yeah, it's definitely challenging. And at that point, weeks 2 through 4, I was still having incisions. The incisions would hurt if I bent or if I stretched wrong or whatever. It did hurt. It was painful. And bending over is just terrible. I remember watching other people talk about these little long-handled things that you can pick things up from a distance. And I didn't get one of those, but that would be helpful. So I will try to post what I'm talking about somewhere. I'm just still learning how to edit, so I'll do my best. So anyway, that was challenging, and I slept all night. And then I would go downstairs and I would sleep on the couch all day. I mean, it was just, there was so much sleep. I was sleeping probably 16 to 18 hours a day. And I think that probably helped my recovery, just because I wasn't up moving around and I wasn't doing anything that would cause any problems. I mean, I was just sleeping, and I always sleep on my stomach. I've been a stomach sleeper for my whole life, but after the surgery, I just slept on my back and I didn't move. I was just sleeping on my back, which is something I would never be able to do. I wish I could do that, but because I just think it's healthier than sleeping on your stomach. But that whole time I was sleeping on my back. So, and I just slept and slept and slept. I could not get enough sleep, and I sipped water a lot. I sipped veggie broth a lot, just forcing the protein, just a lot of that. So, yeah, and I felt good. It's not that the only time I really had pain is when I moved around too much, or when I bent at my waist. Bending at my waist I remember just jumping because it hurt. So, yeah, it's kind of, I guess if I were to look back at it, those 3 weeks are probably the worst 3 weeks, just because you've got scabs on you, on your stomach, your muscles it just hurts. Like when you bend at your stomach, it's painful. You're just constantly trying to get comfortable. You have to, you don't realize how many times in the day you use your stomach muscles. So just standing up, you're using your stomach muscles. So you need something to push yourself up. Otherwise, you're really using too much of that muscle when it's healing. And yeah, it's pretty challenging. I'm not gonna lie to you. At least for me, it was. But I just was sleeping a lot. I tried really hard to just be asleep. And it wasn't really a try situation. I was very tired. So lots of sleep, lots of popsicles, lots of veggie broth, and water, and by the end of about the third or fourth week, the scabs were coming up, so I knew that they were healing, and it made me happy to see that, just because it looks crazy when you look down your stomach and you see all these incisions. I had a lot. Like I had the duodenal switch surgery. At the same time, I had my gallbladder removed. At the same time, I had hernia repair. And then the next day, they had to go back in and remove a blood clot from my intestine. So there were a lot of incisions and scabby-looking things on my belly. So just having some of those scabs come off in the shower, wherever they were, made me really happy. Like I just saw some progress. So that was good. I know it's gross, but that's to me, that was the weirdest part of it, is just having all these things on my stomach. It's I don't know. I had questions. I questioned the doctor about that when I went, and he said, "Oh, well, that's some of my best work." Ha ha ha. So Dr. Shrikant he's pretty funny. Anyway, so then that up to week 4, I remember looking at the calendar going 4th week, and that week, the 5th week, I started feeling so much better. Like everything just turned around, and I didn't want to sleep all the time. I wanted to get up. I wanted to move around. I had purchased a rowing machine for my pre-surgery working out. The surgeon had suggested that I would use a rowing machine just because it works your core. And so after 4 weeks, I started using my rowing machine again, and I was so happy to be moving and active. And I was still, my hands and my face and everything were still kind of a little bit swollen, I feel like, from the surgery, but not as bad as it had been. My fingers looked like hot dogs right after surgery. I mean, I was swollen. But doing that moving and doing a familiar exercise just really turned everything around for me. So the 5th week was great. I felt so much better. I started getting dressed. I started wanting to go do things and working out, and yeah. So I guess the moral of the story is to just know that even though I had a fairly great pre-surgery, and my surgery wasn't, I don't remember anything really traumatic happening other than having to go back in because of the blood clot, but there are a few weeks there that you're going to really need help, and you're going to really not want to do anything. So, but that being said, yeah, everything kind of turned around after that. So thank you. We'll talk about my progress since then on my next video. Thank you for tuning in, and please be sure to like this video and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.